Greetings. My name is Professor Ben DeDominicis. Students typically call me Professor Ben. And it's Friday, June 19th, 2020, at a little after 1 in the afternoon here, my time here in Korea. I'm here to introduce you or introduce my course to you, European Union Policymaking for fall 2020 semester here at the Catholic University of Korea. This is going to be posted on the Catholic University of Korea website so that students can get an introduction to the course as they're considering what they're going to register for in the fall. And I've taught this course many times in the 11 years I've been here at the Catholic University of Korea. And I should tell you, of course, we are assuming that we are going to have regular class meetings in the fall, that we're going to be meeting on Monday and Fridays, as we normally do. But if that changes because of the COVID-19 issues, I have no problem, I think, being able to adapt this class so that you get maximum benefit out of it, even if it has to go, if it has to go 100% online. And let me explain that, because I was going to show you the format of the class, which is in this document, which I think is being posted on the website. This is taken from the syllabus. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is taken from the syllabus. European Union policymaking syllabus. And of course, it's supposed to be an introductory course to the European Union. And it's going to use this textbook, if I can find it here. I think I can't. Well, this textbook is, I think I cannot show you it right now, but it's the European Union, How Does It Work? It's a book that is now in its 5th edition. I've used this book extensively, and we will have copies of it. I should tell you that I have written out in detail the elements of the chapters of the book, the text of the I basically wrote the book in my own words with my commentary, so that I can post the contents of the notes online. And so those of you who had me in other classes might remember that I extensively used Facebook as a course website, and I would post all of the electronic files that I used in class, including the extensive notes that I took for each chapter of the textbook, and posted them there. And anything that I showed in class, including YouTube links and other things, I posted there. And the fact that it's an electronic format, of course, means that you can also use the translation function in the Google Chrome to translate from English into Korean, or from English into French if you're an international student from France or whatever. Because we often have some international students in the class. We typically have international students as well in the class, so this is the format that we will follow if it's a regular class meeting time, where we meet twice a week. You can see I ask the students to write a weekly 150-word paragraph on the topic for that week, a debate topic, which is assigned in the syllabus, is stated in the syllabus, and then the students send that to me before the debate as an e-file, as an electronic file, and then we meet, and then once a week we have a debate. We also have a midterm paper where the students write a paper, in which the students write a paper. I write comments on it in the Microsoft track function. You can see here, this is track changes here, and then send it back to the students. And then the students come to my office during the midterm week, and I meet individually with them to talk about my comments, and also to practice their English, and to think about and talk about and think about the course content, because these debate topic paragraphs, and the midterm papers are all related to the course content, the course material in the textbook. And maybe if I can show you this, if I can. This is the textbook. Yes, I'm still using Zoom for the first, just this last couple of months. This is the course textbook, the European Union, How Does It Work? And you can see it's 5th edition, and we'll use copies of this book. And so, like I said, I've taken extensive notes on all of the chapters in the textbook. So, and I will send those notes to you, and so you can have them. And you can see, these are the chapters. So that's the course textbook, and it's quite a popular textbook, and it's new. It's came out in 2018 in the fall, so it does assume that Britain is going to leave the European Union, which formally it did, of course. So I'm going to go back to sharing the document I was showing you that is the course plan, so to speak. Then there's the midterm paper, and then if necessary, if the class has to go online, I can do weekly meetings with each of you, just like I do with the midterm paper. Like I said, the students write papers, they send to me, I write comments on them, send them back, and typically they come to my office and we talk about what's in my comments. But we can do that weekly, and we can do it through Zoom. We don't need to be face-to-face. I can show your papers and paragraphs like I'm showing you this right now, and we can go over it, and you can interact, communicate with me, and do that. Of course, maybe since we wouldn't be meeting in classes if that was the case. If that's the case, this might be a little bit longer, but I can imagine where I would ask you to write a paragraph. You send it to me by a certain time. I write comments and send it back, and then we meet like this through Zoom. And and then last semester in the fall, last fall, I met twice with the students for 2 weeks. And so I think what I'm trying to say is that the format of this class that I've been using for years now is quite easily adaptable if we have to be flexible because of unexpected or expected developments in the fall, whether it be, maybe we won't meet as often, maybe once a week. I don't know. That's up to the university administration to decide. But as of now, as of June 18th, June 19th, we are going to meet regularly, like we used to before this finishing spring semester. And so maybe I should talk a bit about the course material. Of course, this is a very important time. But let me talk a bit about what to expect to get from the class. Of course, you're going to get the basic information about the European Union. You're also going to get lots of opportunities to improve and develop your English language skills, both writing and speaking. To develop your speaking skills, you need to write in English. Because to learn the words that you're going to use verbally, you have to become familiar with them, and you become familiar with them by writing with them. And so there'll be lots of opportunities for that. And also trying to explore the European Union as a really unique peace strategy. The European Union, as I say in the class, is a peace strategy for the most violent place in the world over the course of modern history. It has to be Europe, considering what we've seen there. And only since 1945 has it been relatively peaceful, but it's still not peaceful. I mean, there's fighting still going on in the middle of Europe in Ukraine, and fighting going on on the perimeter with in Azerbaijan and Armenia. And so we can't just take peace for granted. And and then of course, before I came to Catholic University of Korea, I was at the American University in Bulgaria, and right next door to my university in Bulgaria, there was a war going on in Yugoslavia that killed at least 100,000 people, and we witnessed atrocities that we hadn't seen since World War II. And so what can we, the rest of the world, in Asia, elsewhere, what can we learn about the peace through integration? And other actors and leaders do point to the European Union and to try to adapt its its experience and capabilities to their own regions. So like the African Union that started functioning several years ago was explicitly based on the European Union experience. And various Asian leaders and both in and out of office have commented upon maybe trying to do something similar in East Asia. And that'll be a theme in the class. And the relationship of the European Union and the United States is a big issue. Because the United States was dominating Western Europe or hegemonic in Western Europe during the Cold War, and that created lots of opportunities. But now with the election of US President Donald Trump, the world has become more complicated, and we're seeing the decline of US influence and the rise of China around the world, particularly in the midst of this pandemic. And what can the European Union role can it play to prevent an intensifying conflict between the United States and China that could produce terrible consequences for the rest of the world, if only because of the lack of cooperation that's needed to deal with, aside from the pandemic, but global climate change. The European Union has been a global leader, or sees itself as a global leader in addressing the challenges of global climate change. And that requires global cooperation. And so how is the European Union going to mediate between the nation states of the United States and China, which are very nationalistic in their behavior, while the European Union is by its nature multinational and confederal, and which is good insofar as it's less likely to act like an aggressive militant nation state like the United States or China, and it's perceived as less threatening insofar as the world looks at the European Union and they see this complex multinational actor that is not really representing the imperial power of any particular imperial pretensions of any particular member state. I mean, I don't think most people believe that the European Union is basically a cover for German imperialism, right? And that's quite an achievement. That's quite an achievement when you think about what the history of Europe has been involving Germany. So that's what we'll talk about in class. And I was also asked to show you that some slides as part of this presentation. And of course, I just downloaded these. These are the most, let me see if I can do this right here. These are the most recent slides that I have downloaded from the European Union Europa website, and they've been updated. I think this is old. These are the old ones. Sorry, I have to find the right ones. Yeah, here it is. The PowerPoint slides that I wanted to show you here. So share screen, and then we go here. Where is the screen at? And I think that's, I don't know if those are the ones I want. I'm trying to find the right slides here. So see, go here, and of course, there's always excitement here, and whenever we try to highlight something new. So, yes, this is it. These are the European Union most recent slides. Of course, you can see that Britain is no longer a member of the European Union. You know, these are slides I downloaded from Europa, and they were meant to help college instructors. And so you can see here, of course, the founders of the European Union. It's always typically, including Winston Churchill, he's always put in this group. Konrad Adenauer, the first prime minister of West Germany, Robert Schuman, a French foreign minister, Jean Monnet, a French civil servant, and De Gasperi of Italy is the prime minister. Simone Veil, that's a new, they put she wasn't there in the earlier edition of these slides from last year. And I have to go back and find out who I think she might have been prime minister of Belgium. And so you can see these nice slides that the European Union makes available. You know, the European Union is complicated and never gets enough credit for its successes because, almost never, because its success is in maintaining peace in Europe, preventing bad things from happening. So when something bad doesn't happen, it typically doesn't get the headlines of the media because it's a non-event. So the achievement of peace in Europe just didn't happen. It had to be worked for. And only when the European Union doesn't prevent war, when it fails in preventing war, for example, here in the former Yugoslavia, then people condemn the European Union, say, oh, it's a failure, it's a failure. But there are lots of other places that you don't hear about that could have been violent and weren't, because partly the explanation has to include the European integration, like between Romania and Hungary over Transylvania, where there's 1 to 3 million Hungarians located, or Estonia and Latvia, where there's large Russian minorities that are nervous about being oppressed by the Estonians and Latvians. I mean, those are success stories that typically are not covered. But so, European Union has made available through hard work the fact that you can now roam throughout the European Union with your cell phone, and you don't pay exorbitant prices. If in the European Union and you're a German, you go to Greece for holiday, you use your cell phone and you pay the same price in Greece to use the cell phone to call somewhere else in Europe that you use that you pay in Germany. That has not always been that way. When I was in Bulgaria, when I wanted to call somebody from Bulgaria to Greece, it cost me $1.50 a minute. And that changed because of the European Union, cheap airfare, cheap. So, these are all things that happen because people made them happen, worked hard, negotiated hard to make them happen. So we'll also talk about Brexit and its implications and so on. But I don't want to make this too long. I was going to try to keep this about 15 minutes. So I think that's where I'll stop. And and continue on with let's see if I can stop this. And so I think that's where we'll stop. And I hope you consider taking the class, and I hope I see you in the fall. Take care. Bye-bye.